Hello and welcome back to my channel. So I'm excited to share this with you. And this is a conversation I had with Evgeny from Moscow, Russia. He reached out to me on Instagram and wanted to chat because he had quite a few questions from his wife and himself around what to expect. He has a really good job offer here, but obviously there were some question marks over life in Saudi. So what we did, we jumped on a Zoom, we recorded it, and I want to play it back to you guys. I'm sure there's questions in here that you can take stuff from, can learn from, and actually probably do some more research on yourself. So if you have any questions or you want to have a call, which may or may not be recorded, please do shout and I'll be more than happy to set something up with you and go through any of the questions that you do have. So happy viewing, enjoy, and thank you, Evgeny, for being the first one to partake in this, the first of many, I'm sure. Enjoy.
This is exciting. This is the first time I've ever done anything like this. And Evgeny, have I said it right?
Yeah, you have.
Boom, brilliant. Didn't practice whatsoever. But you reached out to me, sort of like just before the weekend, really. And I thought this would be a great opportunity for us to chat and obviously allay any concerns or fears you might have around moving here or some of the bigger practical logistical questions, but then also to hear about why it is that you're making the move. So, you know, one sort of question I always get asked, and I ask people when they're considering is why Saudi?
Thank you very much for having me here. Like initially when I messaged you in Instagram, I didn't really think we would have such a thorough conversation, but thank you very much. So yeah, let me tell about myself and how I've come up to this decision, I guess. So my name is Evgeny and currently I reside in Moscow, Russia. Previously I worked at Yandex, and Yandex is a competitor of Google, but in Russia. So they have plenty of products, and I've been working there for a few years as product manager. I have a few points that motivate me to look for a new job. So the first one is to learn new skills, to learn a different mindset to secure a more senior position for me in the future. For instance, I want to be more concentrated on strategy rather than on some feature delivery, and so I want to work less with engineering teams and become to think more of the big picture. So, and the second motivation I forgot to mention is that, as you know, things are getting difficult here in Russia due to the recent events. So I believe that many young people are forced to leave the country. I don't believe I can actually say a lot in public, because people get pulled over even just for going outside with an empty list of paper. Yeah, it's very rough here recently. So, but we feel like there is not much we can do to protest. I mean, we cannot go outside. We will be definitely pulled over and just sit somewhere for 14 or 15 days. I mean, we'll be jailed probably. So I decided that if I'm not going to pay taxes to this country, this will be enough. Anyway, so I see. I've been considering this for a while. So this was
Saudi
just
Arabia,
a driver.
or moving?
Not Saudi Arabia, but various countries or cities. So my favorites were London, Dubai, or Singapore. Okay. I believe that those, I know they are all different, but they're quite, I would say, civilized cities with very well-developed infrastructure, and they are business cities. So there are lots of startups, emerging companies or big ones, and they have quite, I would say, diverse population. So there are also people from everywhere. And I think that actually London is the closest to Moscow in terms of level of life. So Dubai is quite conservative, but still very diverse city.
Yes.
And UAE is also quite progressive recently. And so I've
never been to Saudi before, I imagine, no?
No, never.
Me
so
neither.
That's why I'm here.
I never ventured over until I got a job. So we're in the same boat, or we would be in the same boat.
So yeah, and also those locations are different in terms of climate. So also, well, my point was that in terms of when I think of relocation, well, each of us, I believe that when we think of relocation or going somewhere, we compare those places or job offers with what we have. So it's like a comparison table, and you like check off those check
Yeah,
boxes
you've got
and
your
like, yeah.
pros, you've got your cons, and then you kind of make a decision.
So yeah, I've been trying various interviews for a few months, and it turned out that like I think of myself as a professional, so I do definitely know my pros and cons, but I believe I'm eligible for quite similar positions in those countries. I know that there are still many things I need to know to learn, like language and many things, but I believe it would not take me like too much time. So still there would be some start. I don't know, maybe not too senior position or maybe a lower position, but anyway, I see myself doing quite similar job, but in a different country. But it turned out that apart from doing what I'm currently doing in my workspace, I also need to learn how to do interviews. So it was also some learning curve. And
So this is why you're so good now, right? You've practiced.
I believe so.
You're
I believe so,
smashing
yeah.
it.
Thank you. You're flattering me, actually.
Are you blushing? Maybe.
No, not yet.
No, you're good. You're good.
I'm actually quite pale compared to.
I get all the time.
Uh,
I get told I'm really white here, and I feel like I've got a bit of a tan. So yeah.
we actually had snow here in May.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, it
Well,
was
when you
very
come
cold.
here, there'll be none of that. Just throw away your winter clothes. You don't need them.
Yeah. I'm going to do it. So in the best case, I'm going to take a leather jacket with me. That's it. Oh, well, where was it? So yeah,
You kind of
and
settled on looking at Saudi.
someone appeared and just proposed me to discuss an opportunity with a stealth startup in Saudi Arabia. And I was like, yeah, why not? Sounds great. And from day one, I felt, I would say, cared about, valued. And these guys had a very good process. Like everyone's aligned, very little time from interview to an interview. So they were really fast with their feedback and decisions. But kind of, I did not do a great job, I would say, to learn about Saudi Arabia. I was more concerned about the offer itself. Like I wanted to concentrate myself around successing in the interviews rather than thinking of the country. And within a few meetings, they said like, yeah, so you're going to receive an offer. I was like, hey, great.
Probably should
But
look at what Saudi's about.
yeah, I knew from the start, I knew that's a quite strict country holding up their religious traditions. So I started looking into internet, and it turned out that most of the articles are 2-3 years old. And that's exactly the timeline when a lot changed in Saudi, as you know, as you're telling us in the channel. And so I really struggled to find good source of information. I could also turn to the guys from that startup, but I believe they are biased because they want to come, they want me to come to the country as soon as possible.
Of course.
So they would like. I don't believe I have trust issues, but I guess it's not. They're still biased, so I didn't want to take
You have
that.
to always be skeptical. And what city is your offer in?
It's in Riyadh.
Okay, fine.
So eventually I appeared on YouTube. I came across your channel. This is how I learned about you, and it was great. So it was the most suitable way to learn about the country because I wanted to see like if I know that someone's quite similar to someone's having this similar lifestyle or similar how do you say, like origin. I would say that they come from a large city like London to Riyadh.
Yes, yes.
And if they're doing fine there, it means I can also move there. It will be fine. It's not as scary as people try to tell us. And yeah, also there was, on my way researching about the country, I did a mind shift. I realized that Western media also try to put into our heads that Middle East is dangerous because they have radical groups threatening West, etc. So I was quite surprised to know actually these people are not like that. So that they have that many of them actually understand Western references or culture, that actually Saudi are subsidized by the government to go abroad to study. So they can pick almost any university and they come back to work in the country. So they are very civilized people, very they know the culture, and they're not like that. Then of course I accepted the offer. However, it took me 4 or 5 days to consider it. Guys were getting nervous because I did really want to take my quality time to research everything, to ask third opinions. I was also anxious because I understood that was maybe one of the most important steps in my life.
Have you ever lived abroad at all, or you've always been in Moscow?
No, I've been to United States just for 4 months, I guess. 10 years ago for work and travel program. That's when kids from various countries go on an exchange program and do pretty much anything in service. Yeah. So this is where I learned English and made some friends and just learned the culture. Then I went to Spain, to Madrid, to study, also an exchange program. This is where I learned learned Spanish and improved my English. It was a business administration course just for 6 months. So I believe
now you'll come to Saudi and learn Arabic, yeah?
Yeah. No. I will definitely learn this language.
For sure. You obviously have a knack for languages. Russian, English, Spanish. Soon to be.
I have also learned Chinese for a while. So
see, there you go.
For a little.
You're going to be a natural. But no, that's awesome. That's really, really cool. So you then looked at basically the offer, considered the offer and what it would actually be like living there. And that was sort of opposites of what you expected in terms of what people were saying, what the media had kind of put out there in terms of the place. So you felt a lot more comfortable and happy with the decision and accepting the offer?
Yeah, I definitely was. Actually, I guess that many employers that look for expatriates coming to the country, they also struggle to persuade people coming here. So if there was a pitch desk, probably like a presentation describing everything about Saudi Arabia and the 2030 vision also, it would be great.
Yes, I guess. Yes, I know what you mean. But okay, so that's cool. So you mentioned earlier when you're going to be moving over, or when you're looking at moving over.
So I was actually too optimistic about the permanent visa, but it turned out this one is actually also a not totally clear process. So it also requires clarifications. For instance, for me to legalize my educational certificate, I need to go to Ankara, Turkey, to attest it with the cultural attaché of Kingdom Saudi Arabia there. Ooh. So that's gonna be a journey. So
my girlfriend was similar. Like for her to get her Iqama, she had to go to Netherlands she had to go to Switzerland first to do some medical stuff there, and then she had to fly over to Netherlands where she went to university, get her thing attested there, fly back to Netherlands, fly back to Switzerland there, and then she came back. So it's not easy, really not easy.
So I think that it will take more than 60 days more to receive the visa. I'm starting to work remotely this week.
Okay,
fine. Everything's fine, I believe. So okay, enough about me, I guess. Yes. So I told you that I want someone to give me the true answers about the country, about the
Mhm.
life, right from the horse's mouth. So would you mind asking some of my questions
For sure. Hit me.
about life? Yeah. So what was your biggest regret living in Saudi Arabia?
My biggest regret, to be honest, I don't really have one. I mean, the obvious one probably is just, missing family and not being there for family, grandparents, and that kind of stuff. When I was here over Corona, my granddad passed away, so obviously I couldn't be there for my mum and that side of the family. So that was tough. That was I think one of the only times when I've actually felt really disconnected from family. Obviously, friends as well, and sort of the last couple of times I've been back to the UK, Corona has been really bad, so I haven't even been able to leave the house basically and get out and catch up with friends. So it kind of gets you to really, well, it's sort of like the relationships that mean something, you obviously make an effort with, and whether that's be family, whether that's friends, you make that effort, and those connections are strong, and they are what you make them. So if you don't message anyone or whatever, it does feel quite isolating. But when you do, and you get a taste of home, or you have WhatsApp groups buzzing off or whatever it might be, you still feel part of it. So generally, like, I have no regrets. Life is really, really good here, coming from London. So it's just that, I think it's just the distance and the relationship side of things of being back home.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear this, but I believe it was also a mix of different circumstances, not just Saudi Arabia.
Exactly. So like Saudi, definitely not to blame. It was, the whole shit show that was Corona and what that forced out of the situation. But yeah, like, I'm one who, even when I went to university back home for, every year, like, I would barely go home and visit because I'm a terrible son. But for me, I'm very independent, and I'm
Same for
fine
me.
with that. So
Yeah, I
yeah, no
understand you.
regrets coming here, to be honest.
Great. The second question is also kind of extreme. So it's have you ever been thrown off by anything so hard in that country? So you would try to change your mind and move elsewhere?
No. Like, the only situations where I felt, off is when, like, I would say there's been a couple instances where people have, how would I put this? Sort of berated me a little bit, but to be honest, that's probably my fault, because the first one was being in a supermarket, and I was like wearing like a vest, so I didn't have any sleeves, and so someone came up to me and was like, didn't speak English, and was just obviously like pointing at my arm as being out and shouting in Arabic, and felt kind of off on the wrong foot, kind of thing. The other one was a situation in a Starbucks where the barista came up to me and was like, that guy who was over there, I think I said this in my videos, that guy who was over there, he sort of reported you to the government, for wearing shorts. And so that was a moment which I was kind of like, fuck, really? What? Should I leave? Should I run now? And then everyone around was like, ignore him. He's old school, forget about it. So yes, you get the people who are more conservative and set in their ways, and they tend to be the older sort, but you've got a massive young population here who, as you say, have studied abroad and have taken bits of the life in the West, and sort of they've sort of changed or tweaked their thinking. That's not to say the thinking is bad here at all, it's just a cultural difference. And for me, I'm probably quite oblivious to, I'll do what I want. I wear shorts and I wear vests, which probably isn't the most sensible thing of me being honest, but it can put you in slightly difficult situations. But then again, I'm like 6'2" and 100 kilos, so I don't feel at risk, if I'm honest.
Okay. So this is why I actually wanted to make some comprehensive guide for expatriates, because they would actually, I believe that most of the people don't want to offend anyone coming to
Totally.
Saudi. They just don't know what's the difference sometimes. So they need to learn how to wear properly, what's for each occasion, etc. So if the more people know about this, the less nationals, Saudi, like people will be affected.
Yeah, ultimately it comes down to respect, and if you know you're coming to a country whereby if you're a female, that most of the women there are covered in some sort of way, then even if you don't want to cover up in terms of an abaya, if you still wear clothes that obviously aren't figure hugging and show a lot of skin, then it is just a matter of respect. It's kind of like I've been to Bali recently, and and to be honest, there's a high portion, it's a high Muslim population there. And you've got people coming back from the beach in bikinis and this and that, and it's kind of just a bit disrespectful to the locals. So you just need to think in terms of that. You're in someone else's country, and they have a custom, they have their ways, and you need to be a bit mindful of that. And that's not to say it's repressive and this and that, but it's just different. And if you respect that, then you're going to be absolutely fine.
Actually, I was curious to know not about the dress code, but about how people normally react when someone's misconducting it. And your answer is here. So first, if you make sure, like if you take measures, if you respect people outside, if you think in advance, everything is going to be fine. But in case you don't, if you if your dress code is incorrect, people will not throw rocks at you. They will rather come up to you and say
all that's going to happen is if you are doing something wrong, then you're probably going to get looks. You might have someone come up to you and say something. There's no religious police anymore, so you don't need to worry about those. There's obviously police, but it's kind of there's a certain freedom you get as a foreigner that people look and be like, okay, fine, he's foreign, so we can't judge him by the same sort of criteria. But you're seldom going to get anything. I mean, if for example me and my girlfriend sometimes walking down the street holding hands, then all you might do is get weird looks or curious looks, but you don't know if people are like slagging you off behind your back. It's just everyone's entitled to their opinion. It's just whether they voice it or not. I mean, I think there's another video my girlfriend was saying she was walking along and someone was like haram to her, which basically means like sin, and that is a bit outward, and it's not very nice. But humans aren't very nice generally, no matter where you are.
Yeah, some people also specifically are just rude. So yeah, I know that there's a law that people, women in Saudi can go outside without guardians. So I guess this guy was not right.
Yeah. So or because she wasn't wearing an abaya, and that's something that has been ingrained in him for 50, 60 years, and that's normal. So as things change, there's always going to be a little pockets of resistance, or it takes time for people to change.
Actually, that was my next question regarding abaya. So
you don't need to wear one. You're a male. You're fine.
Yeah, but my wife does.
Well, she doesn't technically. So yeah, you don't need to. She doesn't need to wear one. I mean, it's always. I think the reason why my girlfriend and some other people I know wear it, even Saudis, is because they. It depends where they are. So I've been in occasions where I've been with a Saudi lady who would be wearing an abaya because of certain people around, certain local people, and she would prefer to be covered because she doesn't want people looking. And that's, not to say people are, disgusting and gross who look at women. It's just something natural that people do. And so if you don't want to have your sort of figure on display, as it were, then you feel more comfortable covering up. Equally, my girlfriend, to be honest, she wears an abaya a lot because she takes taxis, and I think this is the male opinion, so probably totally invalid. What she tends to say to me is if she doesn't have an abaya on in a taxi, then it's kind of like it opens up free conversation between the taxi driver and her. And a lot of the time that has been a bit kind of gross and, you know, not kind of professional, definitely not professional. So she feels more comfortable with something rather than not. But to be honest, now, a lot of the time she just wears like a baggy shirt. So it covers her bum, it covers her legs, and obviously covers her shoulders. So she is now kind of buying lots of different baggy shirts that she can wear throughout the day. So for your wife, it kind of depends, you know, how she is. But for her, because she's probably white and, you know, Russian, probably blonde, then she's going to get a lot of attention anyway because she is different. But just because it's attention, it doesn't mean it's negative attention.
Yeah, thank you. This answer is also a relief. I feel much better now.
No, honestly. And if she wants a call with my girlfriend, we can hook them up and she can, you know, have a female perspective rather than a male. Next question, hit me.
Yeah, next question. So actually this one is connected to the last one. So if women have to wear a abaya, I was concerned about how they keep up with heat. So still, if women don't have to wear a abaya, I believe they need to wear shirts with long sleeves and
yeah, like more baggy clothing.
Yeah. So it's like better, but still, how does your girlfriend feel like about this heat and?
Well, she's from Bali, so she's kind of used to that somewhat heat and humidity. So in Riyadh, like it is super dry heat, like really hot. And actually, you know, I've had a couple friends like at the gym I used to work at, they like would randomly just get nosebleeds because of the heat. So, you know, it's tough, and then it can get quite dusty as well. So if you're prone to like allergies and congestion and all that kind of stuff, it can be quite difficult in that sense. Jeddah here is a lot more humid, so it's very, very humid and it's very hot. So they're different. But in Riyadh, because of the heat, well, to be honest, across Saudi, because of the heat, people don't really go out. People don't do outside activities. Ah, my girlfriend's here. Is she wearing a abaya? Yes, she is. She's wearing an abaya.
Hello.
Hi.
We're just talking about the heat in Riyadh and Saudi.
And how women keep up with heat.
This is Evgeny.
Evgeny. You can call me Eugene.
Eugene? This isn't abaya. It's
well, it's the same purpose. It's just a bit of fabric, really. But yeah, so the heat is tough. And Thea, how do you fare in the heat with an abaya as a woman?
it's absolutely horrible. It's worse when he's complaining wearing a tank top and shorts. And I'm like,
oh, no relief on that. Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
So don't complain to your wife.
Do you mean like, you know what I mean? Like he's like tank top and shorts and it's hot and I'm like covered and he's like, oh, it's so hot. And I'm like, please.
But as I said, she comes from the tropics. I'm white. I come from London. So we don't ever go above 20 degrees.
It's really not even that bad. You're never outside.
No, like to be honest, you're never really outside. Everything's like car to office, car to cafe. You might chill by the pool, but then you've obviously got the pool. So it's not really, I mean, it's just horrible when you're walking two places. So, you know, it's just, you got to suck it up. And in Riyadh, in the winter, it gets really, really cold. So you'll have to bring your jacket and you'll have to bring your winter clothing because, you know, it does flip like that. And everyone says Riyadh in the winter is absolutely lovely. So, you know, you will kind of get the best or worst of both, depending how you look at it.
Yeah, you just reminded me of something. I just wanted to say that each one thinking of moving to Saudi also have their own routine and types of entertainment they're used to. Like some people like going out to a bar each day, or some people like me like going to the parks where everything's like green and like humid. So and so when you're coming to Saudi, I believe you need to change that. So
Yes.
if you're
Yes.
used to spending lots of time outside, going to a park, and there is no any, or it's scorching hot, so I believe it's, yeah,
Doesn't happen here.
Yeah,
it's not
you kind
happening
of, you
there.
have to like change what you're doing. We're lucky in Jeddah because we get the beach. So at least you can go to the beach and enjoy some of that. But generally, like if you're here, a lot of people, a lot of expats say, you know, it's just work. It's a great time to work on your fitness and yourself as well, because you do have that time. But other than that, it's cafes, it's restaurants. There's other things that happen, like, you know, in here you have some like go-karts, you've got mini golf, you've got all these kind of smaller things. But in terms of nice long walks down wherever, there isn't that, to be honest. I mean, they're trying to make places more pedestrian friendly and accessible and nice, like down the Corniche here along the beach and the waterfront and everything, but still, like, it's just too hot. So outdoorsy stuff you can't really do unless you're taking more trips. So in Riyadh, you've got like the edge of the world, which is sort of just outside the city. You've got all these places which are amazing, and you can do hiking and this and that. Like in Jeddah, we go diving as well, which is quite cool. So in terms of like comparing it to Moscow, it's always going to be a change, but it does open up other things. So you can join hiking groups, running groups, you can join the gym, fitness, and work on yourself. And obviously there's cinema, which wasn't a thing a few years ago here. So that's new. And so it's different. You know, if you're trying to just recreate your routine here that you had back
It's
in
not gonna
Moscow,
work, yeah.
you're going to come up short. So it's you know, it's as with anywhere, you know, it's different and there's cultural changes and challenges. But if you go with the flow and try and just create a new routine, you're going to be in a good place.
Yeah, I see also positive things here. Like a few months ago, or like for a while, I wanted to give up alcohol, for instance. I don't want to say that I have any problems, but I see that it's not like doesn't have it has less positive than negative.
Yes, I
So
know what you mean.
so
Same here.
yeah, and I see that's a great change for me because here it's always simple. Where are we going? We can go to a bar or to a restaurant. We're gonna have a drink, and like then we're going to a club and somewhere else. But there I will give it up and make some other way of entertainment, maybe find something new. It sounds great.
Yeah, exactly. Like, to be honest, I don't miss alcohol, even when I'm home or traveling or whatever. I might have a drink, but you know, last time, like I said, when I was in Bali, I was there for 3 weeks, and I think we had like 2 drinks. So it's not really. You kind of realize how well you function without it. So yeah, you're gonna have to give up that vodka.
Or just make it yourself.
Or Taya's just said, or you can make it yourself if you want to get into that kind of thing.
No. That's completely legal, I believe.
It is.
And I wouldn't be able to drink it, I believe. My next question is regarding Saudization. I guess that lots of expatriates don't know about this. And just learned that I believe 100% of staff in financial industry are eligible for Saudization. So, and I know some people working in fintech area. I don't know if they're affected or there is some kind of loophole for that, but maybe could you tell me more
Yeah,
about this
so
trend?
every now and again, they look at pushing pushing Saudization into different industries. So, for example, the most recent one that I saw was into marketing services. So, I believe there's like a split or a certain percentage of your marketing team or whatever it is has to be Saudi. And I think what they generally try and do is and this is sort of my conversations with people who are experiencing this in the workplace here, like expats, and you can sort of hire, you know, the most of the workforce in whatever industry as Saudis, and those tend to be the sort of more junior or kind of manager jobs. But then you still get the expat coming in to the top and sort of sharing their knowledge, sharing their sort of wealth of experience as to how to run. So for example, there was a guy I met and he works for Nissan and he heads up whatever sort of department it is there, and everyone underneath him is Saudi, for example. So it's worth looking into how that works for the industry. But then there's also instances where, you know, sort of the place where I used to work, it's meant to be full, you know, full Saudis in the marketing team, but actually, you know, there's a Lebanese guy who's, you know, under something different in their Iqama, but they are working in marketing. So like there's all these gray areas, and people try and get it to fit as you would expect. But definitely it's worth looking at whatever role you're going for, whatever industry you're going into, to sort of look at what that is. But I think, you know, the more, I mean, there's always going to be consultants, so that's not necessarily an issue. But it just depends on what the industry is. But I think it's great that they're, you know, the government are pushing Saudis to get into work and sort of rely less on the government. But, you know, as time goes, people will be upskilled. They'll have less of a need, I think, for looking further afield expat wise. So, you know, it's the sensible thing, the clever thing to do from the government, I believe.
Yeah, but still it makes me think like people considering going there need to think of themselves like as consultants, not for maybe permanent residents, because in some time they'll have to leave after they share all of their expertise, and they'll have to eventually go somewhere else.
Yeah, because that's the difficulty. You never know which way it's going to go. Because I think, you know, I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's sort of the route that the UAE went. And now, you know, in the UAE, you can apply for whatever visa, a freelance visa, and that kind of thing. So it's still very much here. Like, you have to be here under someone or under a company, and that's a year contract, that's a 2-year contract, whatever, or a rolling contract, whatever it might be. So there is that instability and lack of security in that sense. So it does make it difficult to lay down roots, because they might not extend your contract. And so at that point, you either go home or you have to find someone to transfer your residency to, which has been a new thing recently. Whereas before, if they don't want to extend your contract, you can be just booted out of the country with a final exit visa. So it's changing to allow more job mobility and allow people to actually, well, to basically keep it more competitive, so that employers have to treat their employees well, else they can move company. Whereas before, you could just get rid of them. And so it's changing, and it's definitely worth looking at how the Ministry of Labour are doing that. But, you know, for me, changing my sponsorship in the last couple of weeks, fingers crossed, is fine. And before, that wouldn't be allowed. So it's definitely changing, and I'm experiencing that myself. Touch wood. Hopefully it goes to plan.
Sounds great. Actually, my contract is 5 years long, but
Ooh, 5 years.
5 years. I've changed lots of workspaces for recent 3 years, I believe, because 2020 was very hard, and I changed 3 jobs, I believe. So, and recently something else happened in the world, and I cannot see myself thinking beyond like year or 2 or so.
That's the thing. You just got to go with it. Go with the flow.
I definitely don't know what's going to happen in 5 years, so that's not a concern. If something happens, I'll just go somewhere else and do. Thank you, Peter. Great, like awesome answers, and you've I have so much more relief right now, and you've really revealed lots of my concerns. It's much better now. Thank you for having this conversation.
No problem.
Having me.
More than happy to. And if you have any other questions, please do just shout. But, you know, for you've obviously lived abroad. You kind of know what it's like in terms of settling somewhere or landing somewhere and then thinking, fuck, now what? So you've had that. So you've probably found out what has worked for you in that. So whether you go out and meet people, whether you make connections so you feel more, you know, settled and in a community or whatever it might be, those are the important things. Because otherwise, you know, if you are here by yourself and you work with people who aren't expats and they're all Saudis, it can be quite difficult. So as with most opportunities, it's exactly what you make it. And there are there are people out there who, you know, will help and will sort of meet for coffee, or, you know, you bump into people here, there and everywhere. But the main thing is, like, whatever you enjoy as a hobby, do that, or find new things, because that's the best place to meet people, because no one wants to hang out with people at work all the time. So it's good to sort of branch out, and, you know, for you and your wife to meet people and that side of things. So I hope this has helped at least a little bit.
Well, myself, I'm a very easygoing person, and as a student, I lived in dorms, for instance, so I cannot imagine anything worse than that. So I mean, that was a great school. But when it comes to moving in with my family, so there's lots of planning and like making sure that everyone is comfortable, because if we move together, and I'm happy with my job, but she's not happy with like what's going on around, and so we're gonna like suffer, like all of us giving together. So that's why I put lots of efforts into researching on the country and the way that people live.
For sure. And yeah, like it's one of those things where, well, it's funny. For you and your wife, because is she going to work there, or is she just supporting you there?
The second, she's not going to work.
So it's just important for you. I'm saying this because we literally did this last night, me and Thea, to carve out times for you, because I imagine being at a startup is going to be very busy. So you're going to be pretty manic during the day. And so when you come home, like, she's fresh and she hasn't necessarily done much other than taking care of the household and everything. No, it's not easy. I'm not saying it's easy. Gosh.
Or actually vice versa. She has done a lot taking care of her kid, and she doesn't want to spend time with me. That also might happen.
Yep. Okay, so it could go either way, but, you know, it's important to, if she's stuck at home in a compound, whatever it is, to, you know, give her the love and attention she needs, which is something I continue to learn on a daily basis, isn't it? Yeah. So anyway, I hope that can help. And honestly, if you have any questions, please do reach out, and I'd be keen to hear when you have a date and you're going to come over.
Yeah, thank you guys for your job, what you're doing for expatriates, and thank you for sharing your life with YouTube. So yeah, but that's a great content, definitely.
We're starting something here with like interviewing expats when here, so it would be great to do that with you. So we had our first one the other day with a barber from Brazil, and he's like all tattooed up and everything else. So it's kind of like the polar opposite of what people expect of people living in Saudi. So it's going to be quite fun showing that in such a way. So, but no, honestly, mate, thank you so much for reaching out, and I hope I've put your mind at ease, and obviously something you can share with your wife and get her.
I will.
All comfortable with the move.
Thank you, guys.
But no, best of luck, mate. Best of luck.
You too. Goodbye.
Awesome,
See
mate.
you.